So here we are in the middle of tax season, and I'm holding a Schedule C in my hand for self-employed buyers. And I'm going to let you know some very common mistakes that we run into with our self-employed buyers. And so this is a blank one right here. You probably can't see a whole lot of it, but I want to make sure that I go through some basic information with you, because as we're getting into the point to where we're doing our taxes, you can really set yourself up for an absolute mess here if you're not doing this correctly. And so here's what I want to make sure that you know when you're looking at these. There's actually two separate pages here for this. There is the main profit and loss, which is going to be on page 1, and then on page 2 there's a breakdown of each one of these schedules. Now, importantly speaking, I'm going to go ahead and write a couple notes up here on the wall so that you can kind of follow along with what I'm saying, because I can't tell you how important this is. I just dealt with a self-employed buyer who in essence is disqualifying himself because of how he reported. Because when you're dealing with self-employment, in essence what's happening here is you're not dealing with just 1 year any longer. Now you're dealing with a profit and loss of over 24 months, okay? The biggest problem with that, with over 24 months, is that you've got to show that you're making money, because it's not about line 1 where you put how much you brought in, but it's about line 31, which is after you discount everything on this whole piece. That's a really, really big deal. So here's the problem that this gentleman ran into. In 2021, he showed a gross profit down here at the bottom of $95,000. That was fantastic. Now the problem is that in year 2022, he took a decline in his income over that period of time. He took a decline of 30%. Now, the reason why that's such a big deal is because when he took the decline in income of over 30%, what ended up happening is in this decline of 30%, he now opened himself up to reducing his ratios. Because when you have a reduction of 25% or more, what ends up happening is the underwriter now says this person does not know how to manage their business, and we have to make sure that this person is capable of repaying this loan. So keep this in mind. I know what he's trying to do is save on taxes, but here's the thing. His gross income in 2021 was $165,000. His net income was right around $95,000. His gross income in 2022 was $165,000, and he brought it down to about $50,000 of net income in that. A significant, it's actually closer to a 40% drop in his income. Now, the big reason why this is a problem is he got himself into a mess by not understanding how the underwriter is going to be looking at it. This now reduces his ratios, his compressed ratios, from a 45 to 50% ratio on the purchase to now a 41% ratio. Which what that means is that his debt to income, all of his debts together, including the new house, cannot go past the 41%. That's a huge deal for pretty much every buyer out there these days, especially with what's happened with interest rates. So what you have to do is year over year, if you're trying to qualify for the purchase of a home, you're a self-employed buyer, whether you're dealing with a Schedule C or you're dealing with it with an 1120S, you need to make sure that your income remains consistent across both of these years. That may mean that you're going to be paying a little bit extra in taxes, but this is the way. This is the way. If you want to buy a house, this is the way. Anyway, so the next piece that you need to pay attention to when you're dealing with self-employment is there's a couple places in here that you can actually benefit without taking a soft loss in essence and not setting yourself up for disaster. One of them is right here on the Schedule C, which is line 13, which is depreciation. Depreciation is a soft loss, and most every business owner has the capability of doing depreciation. Sometimes the accountant wants to give you a one-time hard loss on it when you buy equipment. While that's a good idea from a CPA standpoint, from a trying to qualify for a home standpoint, that can disqualify you. And the reason being is because when you take a one-time hard loss up here in under advertising expenses or other expenses that you have related to this, in essence, what's going to happen is you're going to take that one-time hard loss. It goes hard against your income. It reduces how much you have to pay, but in essence, that one-time hard loss really creates some problems for you. Whereas the depreciation, you get to depreciate it over years, okay? And it's something that we can add back in to line 31, which is your net income. The next thing that's pretty important is if you use line 30, which is right over here towards the bottom, line 30 right above, that's the use of your home as far as a business entity. The great thing about that is that you can write off a certain amount of your business expenses for using your kitchen table. And so internet, lights, air conditioning, you name it. Talk to your CPA. It's a really big important piece, but in essence you have a portion that you can write off that is legitimate. Now keep in mind there's a double-edged sword on that, because many counties, what they're going to require is once you have this set up, they're going to require that you go ahead and that you pay for a business license for their county and pay taxes based off the business. So keep that in mind. Talk to your CPA about that one. On page 2, business use of your car and mileage, which is 44A. That's a huge piece for you to actually look at, because in that specific place right there, we can add the miles back in. Now, if you take it under line number 9 as a hard hit, then now it completely changes everything and you can't add it back in. Anyway, these are some basics just for Schedule C. I can deal with an 1120 later. This is extremely important for you if you're trying to qualify as self-employed. Keep in mind, 24 months, most important. If you're showing declining income and it's over 25%, they're going to downgrade your file and reduce your ratios so that you can't buy. Many times that's going to prevent you from buying what it is that you're trying to do. Anyway, thank you so much for the opportunity, and remember, this is the way. Looking forward to working with you in the future. Don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you.